Monday is not the first day of the week to the true calendar, it's the second day. And welcome to my little hideout. I show you usually, this is where I spend my time with the boys, but this is where I come when we're getting out the way of everybody, really. Yeah. Actually, do you know what? That is not a bad point. Actually, Josie, that's a good point. Let's do this.
I can get changed into it on the live if you want.
No, you bloody can't.
Fucking ass.
Give me that top.
I'm changing into it now.
Can I ask you all a question a second? You see this flimsy little vest top here? Yes, this little vest top here.
Price tag and things.
How much would you pay for a little vest top like this? Little vest top, maybe £4, £5. No, I haven't paid for this vest top. £54.99. £54.99 for a vest top.
So you daughter bought it.
59 quid. So anyway, the reason I wanted to come on live today is obviously Sasha and that are all, tenner.
Who said that?
Charlie says a tenner. Mind you, Charlie, I don't think you'd look good in a vest top, darling. Oh, mind you, those vest tops you would, but not a woman's one. A man's vest top. But the reason that I wanted to come on today is I've been watching the live for the council meeting to do with obviously child trafficking and everything linked to social services. And I've had enough of this because there's three sides to every coin, and all the political campaigners are all pushing at one end of the spectrum and they're not explaining another end of the spectrum. There are people who have Down syndrome children, okay? And they need the support of social care. There are people who will get to the age. Hello there, Lizzie. There are people who, oh, hang on a minute, let me get under me thing for you. There are people who have, obviously, as you know, on the spectrum, people are different, okay? So we are all human beings, we are all spiritual beings having a human experience. We exist in a physical body, we have a soul, and we have a spirit, two separate things. And we obviously have to fuel our body, and then we have to live within the world. Because of the system, oh, actually, that looks really good. All right, okay. Yeah, it's not as short as I thought.
That is a lovely fit.
That is a nice fit. What do we reckon, Josie?
Thanks for that. Not bad for 50.
Not bad. 54 quid for a fucking t-shirt. 54 quid. Seriously.
55.
Material.
$4.99, darling.
£54.99. For £75, you could have got an hour with a psychiatrist.
Got that.
Um,
Psychiatrist said I'm too sick to fit.
I'm just watching my boys. Do you want to see my boys a minute? Look, my boys under there.
Treat yourself to a top instead.
It's, I get that things are corrupted. As a Christian, yeah, we are told that we are not to go up against the authority and the governing that's been put in front of us. But when systems are failing, now at the end of the day, say you were you come into a maternity ward and your child's born with a cleft, okay? So take Liam, my eldest son, for an example. I was only 18 and he was born with a cleft. I wasn't treated particularly well. I was hidden away in a room by myself because of the way people would treat me. When I first ever got into all of this stuff that I was getting into, and obviously I came into the midst of a disability campaigner, the United Nations... No, it is not going to fill. Do I even want to say this on my live? Because really? Am I going to say it?
You all remember Josie?
Am I really going to say this?
Yeah.
This top's not going to last, Josie, very long. Why is this top not going to last very long, Josie?
I got twins in my belly.
I've congratulated her.
I purchased this before I found out.
Yes.
I was pregnant with twins.
I have congratulated her because I'm not willing to be the person that calls her a baby maker of the state. Because as you know, one is already on care and placement orders. She's 2 months freaking pregnant. But at the end of the day, we live in a Western world where we have the greatest NHS ever. we have a healthcare system that other countries don't have. And if your child is born with a cleft, then obviously there are things like clapper, which is the... Lizzie says congratulations. Lizzie says congratulations.
Who said that?
One of my watchers says congratulations. Lizzie Moss says congratulations.
Very much a thanks.
She says thank you. Let's just take the two different mindsets of Josie, actually, all the way through. The Lord has you, Josie. If you take the two different situations, okay, I was trying to explain to Josie when she was going through a court thing that she was being battered by belief systems that didn't exist. She's already had a child taken, and she was literally listening to everything everybody was saying. Now she's pregnant with twins. Now she's carrying two twins, her attitude's changed, and she's going, there is no other option. She's not willing to discuss any other option, where before her mindset was different. And this is what I've been trying to say about the system. A lot, when I'm listening to people on Sasha's blog and they're saying social services, they separate all children, that's not true. That's not true. That may be somebody's particular outcome and case, but that's not true. And they don't do it because they're trying to be cunts all the time. They're doing it because the system is underfunded, under-regulated, under-budgeted. And you have to take into consideration, because when people are being so one-sided on this, you're not fitting the fact that children are abused. Children are abused and raped by their fathers. Children are abused and raped by their mothers. Children are physically harmed by their mothers and fathers. And we have to have some form of system, such as child protection, that can come in and can give children an opportunity that they might not have had within their families. So if you constantly keep going on about one end of the spectrum, you're not bringing balance to this at all. You're not bringing balance into it, talking about how people with physical conditions are being failed by the system. And this is one thing where I've always said there's a spectrum. So child trafficking is one end of the spectrum, but it's not all of it. So you can't, and that's why when I went into that matter with Belinda and I said, look, I got 18-year-olds, yes, who can't listen to this. Their children are with wonderful foster carers. They're working with social workers, and some people have to work with this system. You can't turn around and say every child that has been taken by social services has been unlawful and unnecessary. Some people take drugs. Some people are in abusive relationships. But we as a UK system, the fear of removal is worse than a removal itself. The fear of a system where there's such conflicting opinions going on, and I don't want to use two twins as an example, so let's use Aaron and Faith as an example. Aaron and Faith are together. Aaron and Faith were not separated. So when someone goes onto these lives and say they separate all children, that's bollocks. You can't. Yes, but that's your brothers and sisters. Yes, they've separated all.
That's because we used to batter each other, mind you.
Yeah, but yours.
We used to beat each
yeah,
other.
but you should have been taken.
Yeah, that was a lawful removal.
Yours was a lawful removal.
And it was with consent of my mum because she just lost her kid.
Right, but okay.
Oh!
She's just fallen down.
Careful, James will go nuts at me.
At the end of the day, for Josie to be removed from her family was lawful.
Yeah,
it
no,
was
I
right
agree.
to
It
do
was the
so.
best thing to do.
But how do you then put a child into a family and ask them
But then
to
I've
bond?
experienced some things in care that I would never have experienced with my parents.
Yeah, so Josie did then go through further abuse within the care system. But then once you've got a child within the care system, a lot of it is just reactory. And you can't sit and say one size fits all in this, because no, yeah, and you can't turn around and say, well, foster care is a prison for all children, because that's bollocks. Because if you go and take a child from a situation where they're being raped and groomed by their mother and father, and you take them and you put them somewhere safe, then that foster care parent is a place of safety for that child. So by saying that that's happening, that's not true, and that's not good. You can't, You can't go into a courtroom like what I'm going to be doing for us all and turn around to the judge and say, you're all state kidnappers and you do this and you do that, because it's not true. It's like standing outside David Cameron's when we were and people were going, David Cameron's a paedophile. David Cameron's not a paedophile. But did David Cameron leave his daughter in a pub? Yes. Did David Cameron cover up the fact that I think it was his assistant was caught with child pornography? Yes. But is David Cameron a paedophile? No. So
But
when
being
you
a
go
bystander is just as bad as
being a
some-
bystander, yeah,
someone
and
that-
this is the thing, when you're looking at the emotional grief of a family and things like that, and you're looking at the trauma, the problem with the system that we're dealing with right now is it's very new for people
Oh, I
to
would
be
like to give a
talking out.
speech afterwards.
It's very new for you've got your page, you can go on your page whenever you
Yeah,
want.
No, I want to do something on your live that links into everything you're talking
All right,
about.
okay. So in order for me to put this file in that I have to put in, yes, I can take what Sasha is saying. Yes, I can take what Stolen Children of the UK is saying. Yes, I can take what all organisations are saying. Yes, we've got women, legal women for action, which are going up against for women who've been through DV. But then we need an organisation that's then going up for men that are in DV with women, because this happens. But yeah. You know, people would say, "Oh, a man getting beaten by a woman, that's it."
James is like, she's the beaten. We had mum and daughter imprinted in his cheeks because of his ex-missus. He went into court with sunglasses on, and the man stood there. They went, "Is it true you beat your missus?" He went, "Look, I did it at once, yeah. But would you like me to take my sunglasses off, Your Honour? Would you like to see what I have under my eyes?" The judge went, "Yeah." Right, so he took his glasses off, and all you see is.
But then, if you've got two couples that are fighting, should children be raised in that situation? And instead of going, "Hey, you've got a DVD relationship.
Yeah,
You got
but-
a DVD
He
relationship."
wasn't even there with her half the time because he was at rehab. She was just. A cripple.
Right, exactly.
She
And you're
lost her
giving
kids
you're
before
giving
her.
you're giving more
But do you know why people
reasons.
keep losing their kids?
Why do you?
Because they don't change. What they fail to do is change from the first point of when they had the first kid to when they go on and have more kids. So they're just repeating a cycle. So you actually.
And have
break
you
the
broke?
cycle.
Yeah, but have you got?
I've got to.
You've
I've
got to break that
work on it
cycle. You've got to
very
work
fucking
on it.
quickly.
You've got to work on it, and
You know, I've got a long journey to
and
travel.
and that's what it's about. It's about having a system around us that enables us to grow, enables us to be who we want to
You know,
be.
little things like what's up on the floor over there.
Yeah.
They're the things that really actually make you happy within yourself and life.
Oh,
Seeing
actually,
little things like that.
Watch
you know
me-
earlier when I saw that.
yeah.
That brought so much happiness to my face.
Just watch the boys for me a minute while I run up there.
What was that?
Right, what Josie's talking about is what Graham does. Let me just run up here a sec. Dun, 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 dun. And this is what social workers should be doing. Social workers should be breeding positivity into people. And it's just as simple as this. This is what Graham comes down and does. Love, shine and light. And a nice heart. And so for those that don't know, Graham, who does this, has got a book coming out. And this is all part of his marketing. How quiet it is down there for us. But I should be able to ring social up and say I want to go down to the beach today and I'm struggling with my hips or my legs, and I should be able to bring a support worker out with me, and we should have a community. And this is the problem. You ain't getting two babies in that
We'll
top.
see. If I ever get in to this whilst pregnant with twins, it will be on live. I'm telling you now. It fucking will be.
What's your language? What's your language? So anyway, yeah, I mean,
This is why I am not yet.
if I went into this court case, yes, darling, if I went into, if I had this opening statement for the class action,
I want to see if I can watch it.
if I went in with this class action with the opening statement saying that every case in everything to do with children is all a conspiracy to remove children and traffic them off. Wow, that's not the case. Wow, what have we found? Oh no, he's a bit stucky. Oh no. They're doing something. They're mating. They're like They're like little flies of something, I think. And you can't do that, so you have to sort of separate it into medical failure, whether there's been failure to support for addiction, and it's not even about addiction. Most people who are stuck in, yeah, just for a little bit, yeah, not too far, in drug and alcohol, usually because there's some form of underlying trauma that they haven't dealt with and are suppressing with alcohol. Yes, but only to the top of you, not to the top of your boots, halfway to your boots. I haven't brought any spare clothes, so if you go in, yeah, I'll bring your waterproofs down next time. I hadn't quite prepared for it today. And then obviously whether or not there'd been relationship breakdown, but even with relationship breakdown, well, you are wet and you are wet, that's it. You know, we live under a society of Henry VIII that is about divorce. You know, if it's broken, we should be fixing it. We're not living in a marriage society, so yes, there are all of these things where they separate the parents and all of that. But when someone's looking at a perspective of things, yes, darling.
I'm going to show you.
And they're, wow.
That's a long.
And they're doing it from a point of view where they have an agenda and they're not bringing truth and balance. They're not bringing the whole story. They're not creating the whole picture. Yeah. And what they're actually doing is exactly what social are doing to the parents. And it's a biased, one-sided point of view that doesn't paint the correct picture. And that's what the campaigners are doing back. I know full well that Brodie, my children's social worker, doesn't get up every day thinking, what can I do today to trick Kelly off so we can finally get them kids out of her hands? They don't. Brodie doesn't wake up every day thinking, you know, oh, I wonder who wants these two kids. She knows this. I've got trainers on, darling. I've no wellies on. You're so going in. Lord bless. This is the freedom of my children not being in school today like everybody else. And I don't want it. I don't want to be trapped to that system. You know, and then you'll hear people saying, oh, if you don't vaccinate your children, they'll take them. Well, these two haven't been vaccinated and nobody's taken them. And they haven't had any of their jabs. You know, they're homeschooled and nobody's got an issue with that. So I really don't like it when I see people giving their stories. And yes, in their experience, their children might have got separated. But when you're telling everybody that all children get separated in placement, that's bollocks. A lot of foster carers will try to take all children in. A lot of social workers genuinely do care. Is the system designed this way? It was designed to help. It was designed, they were the food bank people that we have now. They were the people. Elijah, it's going over your boots in a minute. You're going in a bit too deep. And we have a chance to actually influence and change this system right now. But we are not going to change it when we are trying to bring cases forward and say it's exactly the same. Yes, diagnoses are very similar. Borderline personality, narcissistic traits, depression, all of these things come into it. And yes, you can run a statistical analysis to say a sample of parents are all having their children removed on the same thing, and we're having a failure for trauma therapy in this country. It's too difficult. It's too difficult to turn around and say it's all about child trafficking, because it's not. People get 5 minutes with a doctor, with a GP to be able to explain. Multi-agency, social workers are changed over. The fact that we have social workers on child protection that don't have children, which is good, but we're not getting this other part of the system, which is about supporting and enabling family. Everything is coming through child protection. Social work and child protection is two very different services. They are not the same. So when people are going, it's like turning around and saying, all beaches have sand. No, they don't. There's sand here. I bet you I can find you some sand. Here's some sand. But it's stones. So if your schema is that a beach has sand, and you believe that every single beach has sand, Well, then when you turn up to a place like this, you'll be thoroughly disappointed, because you'll find that your belief systems were wrong, because not every beach has sand. And it's exactly the same with all of these cases. Yes, there's going to be some familiarities. Yes, there's going to be some similarities. And yes, there is a bog standard system. But you cannot say that their agenda is to be infiltrating and using this system in such a way, because actually a lot of it is misfeasance, a lot of it is misconduct, a lot of it is incompetence, a lot of it is the fact that they're not qualified. Wow, look, we're gonna get rough. Step back.
Yeah?
The world still goes on while you're on lockdown. It's absolutely beautiful, isn't it? Yeah, look. And my little baby boy here watching. I lost Aaron and Faith because it was my biggest fear.
Where's that going? Is that going to the beach?
No, it's going down there and then it's going back over to the Isle of Wight. That's the Isle of Wight link. And like Josie, to remove her twins is not an option in her mind. But she was scared shitless of it. And a lot of people will put so much fear into you, and fear